This week's project didn't really go to plan, as you'll see in this video. We started off early in the week going to Joann Fabrics to pick out a fabric to cover the headliner of the van. I originally thought I wanted something like sunflowers or a map or something travel themed, but I realized that it would probably get a little bit busy and we'd get sick of it. So we went with something a bit more plain. It's just like absolutely the plainest color that you can get, and then if we go with like really light colors on the inside of the van, that would look good. I like this one because it's kind of a neutral color, but then also it's like, you know, I always like the little dainty flowers and stuff because I'm kind of that like cottage core type of style, but it's not like in your face,
right?
Kind of like.
We think we found one that we like. We're trying to figure out if we need some sort of like padding or some sort of foam underneath it because it's quite see-through. So we're just kind of walking around debating that right now.
What do you think?
What are you thinking now?
I'm thinking, so this is polyester batting for like making quilts and stuff, but you can also use it to wrap any upholstery projects.
Oh, okay.
And then like, because the weave of this fabric is a little bit looser, you can see through it. So if we put this behind it, it'll make that less see-through, but also give a little bit of cushion, which would be good.
Yeah.
One thing to know about Joann Fabrics is that they have an app you can download where you get coupons. You just have to sign up for an account on their website and then download the app. But if you're paying full price, you're overpaying because they always have things like 50% off for their items. So I ended up just getting this. I'm going to use Steven's lap as a table here. We ended up just getting this plain cotton muslin because we wanted to keep it simple and light. And we had a half off coupon. So it was originally $15.54 and we got it down to just $8.24. So it's awesome to get that Joann's app. So here's the headliner as I removed it from the van. Or actually it had a different fabric on top of it, but you can see I removed that. It was a foam backed fabric, so there's some of the foam still left over. And I actually might try to bring this down to the bare minimum. Like take off this gray fabric. Okay, and now I have taken off all of the lining fabric. As you can see, that's scattered on my floor. And it was easiest just to cut it in strips with a utility knife and then just sort of peel it off. I've got a little bit of trimming to do, and then it will be ready for me to attach the other fat. At this point, I started tracing out the headliner onto the fabric that I was going to use. And actually, it turned out this step wasn't necessary. You don't have to cut it prior to sticking it. I used an adhesive spray to stick it to the headboard, and make sure you open your windows when you're doing this because it can be a little bit noxious. And then I stuck the padding down and smoothed it all out as best I could and cut off the excess from around the edges. I just had a regular stapler. I don't own a staple gun, but luckily the fiberboard was pretty thin and I could just staple it with the regular staple gun. So there's it with the batting. And here's me after I've attached the muslin, and I was just ironing the entire surface to get any creases or wrinkles out. Cutting off the excess again of the muslin. This is the second layer of fabric. And then stapling it again. And again, it really worked with a regular stapler. I took it out to the car, and this is where things started going wrong, to be honest. It was very awkward to deal with. I started screwing the headliner right back into the roof of the van. There's some wood panels attached already that I was screwing it into. And I did pre-drill some holes, but I should have done a much better job because the screws twisted the fabric and eventually ripped the fabric. And I was pretty much done at this point. Okay. Lesson learned. This is why you don't use this material for your headliner. And this is why you also don't use white, because as you can see, now I've got stains. So we're going to go back to the drawing board with this silly thing. And I'm kind of sick of dealing with it. But, so here's what it ended up looking like. I'm not super happy with it anyways. There was a lot of creases and it just didn't look super neat, and I'm tired and I'm gonna come back another day and work on it. Get a good coat on. So this time I got the actual headliner fabric and it went on much better, a lot smoother. There's still some wrinkles and stuff, but I've got to give up my perfectionism. But I want to be a bit smarter this time and actually work through some of the holes beforehand so that I can install it a little bit easier. So I'm going to work on that right now. Sorry for the kind of weird lighting, but here I've got my sun shield and the headliner is up, and I've got some spots where I can screw these back in, so I'm going to try to attach them. I'm not sure how it's going to work, so we'll see. So theoretically this is going to go here and this is going to go here, and those will stick in there. Really dislike this process. This is such a headache. Where does it go? There. All right. Finally. Thank you. Ooh. Can I get it? No. Is that it? Nope. Whoop. I did end up getting this one attached, so it works. You can see I've got a little bit of dimpling and stuff, and then I'm going to try to get this side done now. So that's what I'm working on, but at least, can you see me? At least the one side worked. Oh my gosh, it's true. I got it up. Okay, so the headliner is back in and it doesn't look perfect. Clearly, as you can see, it's wrinkly, it's very imperfect, but we have our sun visors back in place and it's gonna do the job for now. And then the last thing I'm gonna do when we deal with the roof itself is I will create some type of molding along there just to create a more finished edge. And it looks much better than when it was just bare insulation. So at least there's that.